Every life tells a story. Join Frank Julian as he shares his one chapter at a time from Story of a Soul 2, releasing every Wednesday.
The Story of a Soul 2 by Frank Julian with Sean O'Neill, narrated by Frank Julian. Chapter 18, The Journey Begins. Peggy became pregnant with Angela, our first child. We were excited, and so was everyone at work and in our family. We started attending a larger church, and I became part of the teaching ministry. I became the nurse recruiter and was doing a good job. People in high positions took note. I prepared to enter a program that offered a master's in nursing. I got so involved with everything else, my Christianity got lukewarm. Oh, the price I would pay for letting things slip. Angela was turning 6 months old, and Easter was approaching. During this special season, I drew near to the Lord and desired to be on fire for him again. He answered by letting my whole carefully created world fall apart. I could no longer think of pursuing a master's in nursing and wanted to return to the bedside and floor duty practice of nursing. They thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy too. But I had been using my gifts for the world and not for the kingdom, and all that had to change. I felt stripped of what I had trusted in, mainly myself. It was a painful, dark time that I was entering, and I had no idea how it would all work together for good and for God's plan for my life. I developed a fear of fear and felt anxious all the time. I was agoraphobic and did not feel comfortable in crowds. I had always been a people person and didn't know how to handle this. I was depressed and wasn't happy with the responsibility that I had as a father. I wanted to run away. Through different signs from God, I knew there was no hiding place. I had to face it. Some real maturing took place. I didn't want to mature, but he wanted me to go to the next level. It took about 3 years of darkness. He wanted me to serve him with gladness, and all bitterness had to be purged from me. I had to learn to trust in him, not me. I managed to secure a different shift schedule at work, one that I had developed as the recruiter. I worked 2 12-hour weekend shifts and 1 8-hour shift, working 32 hours but getting paid for 40. I would finally have time to pray and be a hands-on father. Soon we had another child, Frankie, and I was on the right track for parenting my 2 children, being a good husband, and preparing for my vocation. However, I felt isolated, alone, and empty. Soon the Lord became my closest companion by his Spirit and through his word. Having been emptied, I was then being refilled and refreshed. I was ministering every Sunday at the Rehabilitation Institute since I worked both weekend days. We had church, and the entire arrangement was God starting me out in the ministry. I would not be free of that anxiety for a while, but I ministered by faith. Sometimes the tangible anointing would come on me, starting in my hands, and I knew in those moments that God was reminding me that he was with me. The greatest thing that happened to me at this time was my full surrender to the Lord. When I would complain about working all those Sundays or missing family events, he would remind me that a pastor must also work every Sunday. I was being molded in accordance with God's plan through these trials and through his correction and instruction.
Thank you for listening. Join Frank Julian every Wednesday for a new chapter of Story of a Soul 2. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter.